in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory, yeah. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring, I just want a life that is worth every day exploring, My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life.
All right. That intro was done by none other than Mitch Koski of the Hardcore Sports Network. And Mitch, I greatly appreciate that again. Welcome back to the 60th episode of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast, WrestleMania 40 Prediction Show Edition. Joined again, it's been a minute, by Josh. How's it been going, buddy?
Life's been busy. The road to WrestleMania has been even busier and more exciting. And honestly, every SmackDown and every Raw is basically a can't miss right now. I'm on the edge of my seat pretty much the whole time. So excited to be back. I know it's been way too long, but super excited I'm back to join for this episode.
Yep. Yeah, every SmackDown and Raw except SmackDown last week, which I did the watch along with Earl, and it was tough to do. I was fighting myself to stay awake because it was so bad. And yeah, there's reasons behind why they finally put heat onto some of the mid-card feuds. But I mean, it wasn't it. So I hope that the episode tomorrow is way better. The go home show, the final show before WrestleMania. So yeah, we can jump on into the predictions. I got the graphics here, and we're going to start off with the tag match, the 6-pack ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And I don't know if you saw or heard Michael Cole say that this is good. These are going to go. The match is going to go until both sets of titles are retrieved. So.
Yes.
Your immediate thoughts on hearing that?
First of all, it's about time. Okay. I think we've talked about it many, many episodes ago that these titles needed to be separated and they need to go back to their rightful show destinations. We've gone through and we've brought back the World Heavyweight Championship. We've separated the women's titles. There's a women's World Heavyweight, and then there's a women's WWE title. And, this is really the only title left to separate. Now, once they separate these, the only thing to do is let's make some new titles, because those things aren't holding up. They're old, they're deteriorating, and let's be honest, they look like the worst titles in the entire lineup. So I think it's great. It's about time. So, and this is a perfect way to do it. So
I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, whenever I didn't quite hear Michael Cole say it and make this throw that hint out about the match will go until both titles are retrieved. So whenever I read it on Twitter and then posted it and got to talking about it on Facebook and everything, I mean, I love the idea, and I hope that once if this is how they do split it, then after this, then I think they got to wait till after Backlash, and then I think you got to do the draft again and actually stick with the brand split, and then that's whenever you make the new titles for the the undisputed, or I guess you could just say WWE tag titles and then world tag titles, and that be that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's really the best way. I think the WWE universe and or faniverse, if you want to call it, has been calling for these titles to be separated for a long time now. And I we talked about it before. They were just waiting
Yep.
for a setup to get them separated. So
Yep. And everything about Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, whenever they would say about we have an announcement for about the tag titles coming up, and then it ended up being the ladder match. I thought that's how they were just gonna initially just say it, that we're gonna split the titles, whatever. And they teased it here and there where Pierce would say this is for the Raw tag titles, like a match for specifically the Raw titles or whatever. But yeah, I mean, your picks for we'll do if they swerve us and don't actually split them, which would be stupid, and like one team gets both, or your picks for the Raw titles and then the SmackDown titles.
So if they don't split them, I'm still putting my money on Judgment Day. Because if all these other teams, they're great. I think the closest one to Judgment Day, as far as being able to do the most, would be DIY, or as R-Truth calls it, DX or Regeneration X.
Yeah.
But I think if they don't split them, I think Judgment Day finds a way to retain, especially since they've got a couple of extra bodies in their faction to help them along. So, and it's a ladder match, so pretty much anything goes. And even though there's 5 other tag teams in there,
Yeah.
essentially 4 people on Judgment Day's tag team. So
Yeah.
now if they split them, I think Judgment Day is going to get the Raw titles, and then I referenced it in the first question, but I think DIY takes the second one.
Okay.
I think they're hot. They work so well together, and they seem like the most complete team aside from Judgment Day. So
Yeah.
I think they take SmackDown, Judgment Day keeps Raw.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If they don't end up splitting them, I definitely agree that the Judgment Day probably retains, keeping both titles. And then I do like DIY winning and taking the Raw. And then I think, or Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, Awesome Truth taking the Raw titles, and then DIY getting the SmackDown ones. And then with the Judgment Day, you take that immediately to Finn turning on Damian just choosing to leave, doing whatever, trying to cash in. He fails, which I hope he fails. I think it would be funnier to see him fail in the cash in than for Drew McIntyre to win the title and then get cashed in on. But we'll get to that down the line for Saturdays, or for Sunday's co-main event. Is where I believe that will fall on the card. But yeah, so that's the ladder match for the tag titles, which will be on Saturday, April 6th, night 1. The next match we have is the 6 women tag match. Jade, Bianca, and Naomi against Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, or Io, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. Earl and I and Sarah, we all kind of, I'm sure we all have, being on shows and everything, we've talked about this and kind of called this one to form up and take place at WrestleMania with Jade's debut, and then her getting involved in the main event, which set this up. And then, Earl and I talked a little bit about it, that they could kind of push the crowd to go on Jade's side and then kind of turn on Bianca, and we finally see the heel Bianca, which I think would be so good for her character and everything. And everyone's going to say, oh, she's just like John Cena, they don't want to turn her heel, blah, blah, blah. Well, if they have Jade now and make her the star that she is, immediately I'm thinking Bianca feels a certain way, and then that's how they start their feud. At first, it's respectful and everything, and then boom, Bianca turns and goes heel. But your pick for this match?
So for this one, I think ultimately, the Kabuki Warriors and Dakota Kai I think they're gonna take it. I mean, you've got an actual tag team in that match, and then you've also with Dakota Kai versus Bianca, Naomi, and Jade. Jade's new on the scene, and really, at least I haven't seen them work together in a match, those three together. So I am relatively new back to the scene. But I got to give it to the team that has an actual tag team on
Yeah.
it that knows they work really well together. I mean, the Kabuki Warriors are a great team, and I'm really glad that they actually have the titles. So I think they can hold those for a while, and I think they ultimately win. While I would love to see Bianca become a heel, this would be a great opportunity for that to happen. I think they could also maybe surprises. I would like to see. I'm probably the outlier here, but I would like to see Jade come in as a heel because she could really wreck some stuff, especially as a heel. And I kind of felt a little bit of a heel vibe possible, when she debuted the other day. So I really think they could go either way, especially with the way they kind of introduced Jade, and she's like, this is my division now.
Right. Yeah.
So
No, I get that for sure. Maybe they can kind of play it as like Bianca and Naomi, that they're teaming, and the way the main event shook out, they all were, the excitement was there for between all three of them to be there on the same level in the same ring. But then you can have maybe Bianca and Naomi, they tag each other in and kind of let Jade sit there a little bit, and then once she finally gets in, then she just shows out, and then SmackDown after Mania, she kind of comes out and says like they treated her a certain way, and then kind of pushes into the heel persona, like you said. I think that would be a great idea. I would love that. I just kind of thought immediately, because of the pop that she got, the reactions that she got, it was like they could definitely push her more and get the crowd to go for her, and kind of let Bianca off to the side, and then make her feel a certain way, since that's already kind of been being teased a little bit backstage whenever she's trying to do talk to Pierce or Aldis or whatever, and then someone comes up and interrupts her, so kind of pushing her off to the side. But yeah, I like Jade, Naomi, and Bianca winning. Probably Jade pinning Dakota so that the champions aren't losing, and then you can have any one of the three be turn into a tag team, and then have like a rematch on the SmackDowns leading up to Backlash, and then you do Bianca and Naomi against for the titles against the Kabuki Warriors, Jade and Dakota 1-on-1, or just any variation of these six being in that spot of the tag title, the tag team division.
now I do want to say I wouldn't necessarily rule out one of the Kabuki Warriors getting pinned, because it wouldn't be the first time they had a champion get pinned. If you remember back, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso in a tag match, they allowed Jey to pin Roman in that match.
Right.
So, which could cause some uneasiness in Damage Control, or at least in the Kabuki Warriors, that, hey, maybe this person's a weak link.
Right. I think that was a specific a specific time where they go and do that, because Roman isn't a tag team wrestler. He was in the tag team with Solo, but because he's a singles competitor, him being tagged or pinned regardless in a tag match and a singles match was so much, like, it was such a big deal. So that kind of is off in its own right. And then if the tag champions are getting pinned, like, but the titles aren't on the line, that goes back to Vince whenever he would book whatever he called it, the championship. I can't even remember what he called it, but it was a number one contenders match, but they never called it that. And they also made, if Bianca was the champion, they would put Jade against Bianca, and if Jade wins, then she gets to face Bianca for the title. So it's like, why is the champion in a match losing with the title not on the line to then face someone for the title being on the line. So it just that rabbit hole just kind of that way we avoid all that. But yeah, I'm going team Bianca, Jade, and Naomi on this one. And you are team Damage Control. So we got kind of agree on the kind of all over the place so far. We think we got both DIY and Judgment Day part of, retaining and winning the a title. The next one is this is, I'm not even gonna lie, this is gonna be my bathroom break match. I mean, we talked about this right after the Rumble that these six were just put there to waste spots essentially. Yeah, I don't have much to talk about this one. If I'm gonna be forced to pick, I would go Bobby Lashley and the Profits. But I don't have much to say about this feud because I've pretty much already said it last Friday whenever they were teasing and then would go on to add this match, and then same with at the Rumble. I'm sure we talked about it and said, oh, this is probably going to end up being at WrestleMania, and they did end up dragging it out to this point. So your thoughts on this one, the bathroom break match of the weekend?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Bathroom break, snack break, whatever kind of break you want to call it. I'm taking a break in this match. Period. The feud has been mid at best. If we had a card of feuds, mid feud.
Yeah.
These guys are talented. I do think, unfortunately, I think they're going to keep this feud going.
Yeah.
So I think the Final Testament is probably going to win this one. Both teams are powerhouses, but they're a massive powerhouse. And while Bobby Lashley is, built like a Olympian Greek god, and the other two guys are very talented, I think they're going to keep this feud going by Karrion Kross's team, Final Testament, winning and dragging this out even more, unfortunately.
Yeah. I could see them doing another. They at Backlash maybe they add in B-Fab and they just make it a mix tag match, and they add B-Fab and they add Scarlett into the mix. I figured they would do, I'm sure those two will be involved as well. But yeah, I don't have much care for this match. I wish Hunter was here so he could kind of put in some positives about this match, since he is a big Karrion Kross guy, which I don't fault him for being, but I just don't see it how anyone could be really a fan of Karrion Kross, who has made his SmackDown debut like 6 times in the last like 3 or 4 years. So
right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they end this at Backlash.
Yeah, I agree. I would be okay with a clean, the Final Testament wins both matches, or the Profits and Lashley, they win 2 in a row. We don't have to have the trilogy, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
What's going on, Wesley? Thank you for jumping in and joining. I appreciate you. Good to see you on a Thursday, and also good seeing you last night. So the next one, also the last one, it'll be on WrestleMania Sunday, and the next one, another tag match. This will be on WrestleMania Saturday. Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. It was interesting how this one came to be, in the sense of Dom showing up to SmackDown and kind of not telling Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day that he was going out there to not join forces with Santos and his group, but kind of, I guess, help them in kind of a way for him to pivot from being in Judgment Day and then go to be kind of on his own, make his own entrances, and have the time to talk on the mic, and the crowd actually not booing him too loud where we can't hear him talk. I thought this was going to be a rematch, and they were going to do Dom and Ray just one-on-one at WrestleMania, maybe finally do the mask versus hair match like they talked about last year. That didn't end up happening. But I mean, this was one of the better mid card feud builds that they did last Friday on SmackDown. For me, I don't know. I want to see Dom get a win at WrestleMania, but I think Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio are going to take this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me too. I mean, both teams are, I mean, Dom's kind of made out to be, the loser, the one that loses all his matches in WWE, and but at the same time, he's also teamed up with Santos, and he knows his dad better than anybody else. I think the only person that would have known him better was Eddie Guerrero, but I think I'm going to have to go with Ray and Dragon Lee for WrestleMania. And I think they find a way to continue the feud this between Dom and Ray. So, because this is definitely this has Backlash and possibly even SummerSlam written all over it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a story that I don't think was fully completed, and before, and then Ray's been out for a while. I'm gonna be honest. I've been watching Ray, the last couple of times he's been out, and I'm a little worried. I've seen some not precise timing on some of his moves, but I think it'll be a good match, and I think they'll come out with a victory.
Yeah, I fully agree. They could definitely do Ray and Dom. They could push that to SummerSlam and kind of have they could, at Backlash, they could do either one of these guys, Ray versus Santos, Dom versus Dragon Lee. They could do a different direction with Dom entirely and just do Santos and Ray, which I also thought they could have gone down and done that at WrestleMania. But then Dom and Ray, I think at SummerSlam would be, for their second match, would be great. Yeah, I mean, we both agree taking the good guys on this one. I love the dynamic of this graphic with like both Dom and Santos kind of in black, the black hair, and then Dragon Lee and Ray with the white masks. I'm excited for this one more than I am the last one that we talked about. So looks like the next one is another big match, Intercontinental title match on Saturday. Gunther and Sami Zayn. I'm having a tough time with this one. I've been thinking about, which way this could go. And it is, I would love to see Sami Zayn get back into the Intercontinental title picture and be, champion again with what he's doing now versus what he did the last time he was a champion. But I also think if Gunther is to lose, then, if he would lose the title, then you kind of have to put him right into the main event spot. And, it's because the main event title picture is so packed with, all these guys. It would be tough to throw him there immediately. It would be something new, so it would be great. But ultimately, I think that Gunther in a world title picture doesn't happen until August, like Bash in Berlin. But I'm gonna go with Gunther retaining.
Yeah, they could go either way with this. I don't think it's gonna, put them in a bad spot storyline wise if Sammy wins. I do ultimately think Gunther is going to win this one because I think the setup is just better. I think. Actually, sorry, I totally forgot what I was going to say, but I think somehow Chad Gable is going to get back into this, and if Sammy was to win, or actually vice versa, there's going to be a match. He's going to take Gunther to the wire if he loses, right? And Gunther's going to be like, "Oh, wow, you actually had it in you. You almost beat me, but ultimately you didn't." You know how he does.
Yeah.
And I think that could lead to a match at Backlash. Sammy wins at Backlash, and then with the help and the training of Chad Gable, wins at Backlash, and then at SummerSlam, somehow Chad Gable and Sami Zayn pops up. Now that Chad Gable has been training Sammy and knows him so well,
Yeah.
that could easily be a storyline that they build up to for SummerSlam as well. So, but they could also do that if Gunther wins, or they could do it either way. So,
Yeah. Yep. So I got Gunther, and your pick was
Gunther.
Gunther. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm writing these down so we can whenever we recap whenever we get the chance to do that, we can kind of look and see how we did picks wise.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is again WrestleMania Saturday, big title match. Seeing what Sami Zayn did the last two WrestleManias to now, I love that whole story for Sammy, Gunther, and the Intercontinental title match last year was great. So I'm excited big time for this one. And these aren't in the correct order or anything. So the main event for WrestleMania Saturday, the tag match that Earl kind of threw on to me, saying that I called it right away after the Vegas press conference, and I guess I kind of did. For a while, I think I was the only one that was excited for this, but as we've progressed through this insane story of The Rock and the final boss and these four guys, I think people have finally gotten on board and are excited for it. So I definitely see Roman and The Rock winning. I think Roman. I think The Rock pins Seth. And then somewhere down the line we get Rock versus Seth first, then eventually Rock and Cody, and then finally, my guess would be next year Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 41, because I think that is a WrestleMania specific match, is where that has to take place. But yeah, I got the Bloodline winning, and then Sunday's main event is Bloodline Rules.
Yeah, I've got to, first of all, kudos to you. You did call the tag team match well back at the press conference. And the only reason I was really hesitant is because I didn't think Roman was going to show up for 2 nights in a row when this man, up until here lately, the road to WrestleMania, has been showing up like once a month, if that. I mean, I guess if you count Paul Heyman saying his name, call Roman Reigns, then yeah. But it's going to be a great match. Ultimately, I agree with you. I think the Bloodline is going to win. As far as who pins who, I'm gonna throw the wild card out here. I say Roman pins Seth.
I like that. I like that as well. But I think The Rock will have his moment again at WrestleMania, especially because the way they've pitted Seth and Rock so well against each other. I think that match is going to happen down the line.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this will not be my bathroom break match.
Not at all.
That's
I'm
for
so
sure.
excited that this is main eventing night one. As much as I did say Bailey and Io deserve to main event night one, Rhea and Becky could have main evented night one, but I am so happy Seth is finally getting a main event. And it turns out, like Punk said on MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, the plan originally was going to be Seth and Punk which he said probably would have been the main event for night one. So either way, Seth was going to be in the main event. Me and having called this tag match, I'm super excited for this one Saturday, definitely. And then we got WrestleMania Sunday, LA Knight and AJ Styles. This feud has been up and down, I would say, where it's, it's kind of like, okay, can they do something? And then they do something, and then it's like, okay, well, now it's like they're trying too hard to do something, and they can't just let it happen naturally. For a while, AJ Styles wasn't there. Then all of a sudden, LA Knight's showing up at his house, getting arrested. AJ flew to Australia just to interfere with LA Knight at the Chamber. And then it just, from there, it just like they gave LA Knight 30 seconds to say something about Styles, whatever. They did the backstage stuff. So this one I thought could have been built up better, but I'm gonna go LA Knight with this one.
Yeah, and I want to be honest. I think that's why we do so well on this show together, because I'm also going with LA Knight in this one. Great minds think alike, but overall, this feud, I feel like they've really wasted. It had a real big climax when AJ Styles flew all the way to Perth just to ruin LA Knight's Elimination Chamber match. And, I was like, yes, this just up the level of the feud. And then they basically just kind of on the feud, and AJ Styles wasn't anywhere. And then you had LA Knight for weeks like, I've got a chair, like from the Elimination Chamber. I got a chair for him. And then, you get the whole LA Knight showing up to AJ Styles' house, which is and getting arrested, which is very, it brought to mind Stone Cold when he got arrested, and, for doing something he wasn't supposed to, for being absolutely nuts. Right. And which isn't uncommon, because I've always thought, and a lot of people thought, they currently think LA Knight is a good combination of The Rock and Stone Cold. So it fits. Right. And then
exactly.
But outside of those two pertinent parts of the story, it's just kind of been blah. And, one of the things I've also been reading and kind of thinking about as well is, we say LA Knight is a combination of The Rock and Stone Cold. Well, now that The Rock's here, I feel like it's kind of taken away from that charisma, that attitude that LA Knight brings to the table with that. So you got that in combination with, they haven't really built up the feud other than two really big parts. So, it's mid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a filler exactly. And I mean, I full on agree with the comparing, always comparing and talking about how LA Knight is such a perfect blend of Stone Cold and The Rock, and I think a lot of people want to see an interaction with The Rock and LA Knight, and then potentially on Sunday, if Stone Cold is there, which you said about way back when, and we kind of were like, well, how would they do it? And then they ended up throwing that hint out there that with The Rock standing in front of the truck with Cena and Stone Cold on the side of it, and then that being the way to get both the Stone Cold and Cena into helping Cody fight off, if it is Bloodline rules, fight off the Bloodline and whoever they bring in. So I mean, you called that one on I think a random episode of Dynamite, I believe. So I mean, that was good call for you if it happens. I mean, if it doesn't happen, I mean, it's what a way to kind of fantasy book that. But yeah, I mean, this feud could have been so much more, I think, and they just they kind of wasted it. But I'm still excited for it. LA Knight's WrestleMania debut, so it should be good regardless. And I mean, we kind of right there with each other on the last four. So let's keep that train rolling. So WrestleMania Sunday, I believe this will be the co-main, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, I'm not the biggest Drew guy, so I would be okay with Seth retaining. But I do think that Drew's going to win, and Seth can go and recover from whatever injuries he still has, and then hopefully they work something out with his contract wise, since both of these guys still aren't, from what we've been officially hearing, still not re-signed. But people are saying because they're doing another Clash at the Castle in Glasgow that Drew definitely is re-signed. Nothing official has been said or anything like that. So besides him having time added back on, and then Seth, I mean, who knows how long he would take off to recover, and then when he would come back, when he works out a deal, what he would do if he doesn't work out a deal. I don't think I see him going to AEW or anything. I think he's pretty much said that he would be a WWE for lifer. So, but yeah, I got Drew winning, but I would love to see Drew win and then Priest cash in and lose, just to get the Money in the Bank over and done with, and not have to look at that for another 3 months before it, officially expires, and then we have Money in the Bank for this year. And hopefully that is, they do have a direction for whoever they pick to win Money in the Bank this year.
So I have a couple different thoughts on this match. And I think one of the options that we can consider will come when the 6-pack tag match happens. Okay, and I know I picked Judgment Day and DIY if they split it. If they don't split it, I pick Judgment Day. If for some reason Judgment Day does not retain their tag titles, or one of the 2 tag titles, look for Seth to win. Look for Damian to cash in on a hurt, beat down Seth Rollins from the tag match the night before, from Drew McIntyre that same night.
True.
Damian cashes in, wins the title. Great way to cause some heat within Judgment Day, especially if Rhea retains, right? Because we had that segment, that promo a few months ago where Damon was talking about how big Rhea's head has gotten because she's on the cover of WWE 2K24.
Right. Yep.
Right? So now if Judgment Day wins the tag titles, or one of them, I can see Drew McIntyre winning and Damian trying to cash in and losing, which would be great. But I could also be wrong, but I'm going to go with Seth. I think Seth may pull it out, even after the tag match and everything that's been going on. So far, he's been able to back up everything he has said since becoming champion. And, he said, Drew, I don't need 100% focus on you. I can beat you. I beat you twice.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm going to go with Seth. But keep an eye out for the Judgment Day if they don't win the tag titles.
Okay. Yeah. I could definitely agree with that, for sure. And I hope that they do something besides making it something. I hope they do something besides the obvious choice, which is to give the title to Drew, for his moment in front of the fans and everything else that he's cried and whined about, to get into, the co-main event spot for a title shot. And with there being Clash at the Castle in Scotland, if Seth is to retain, I think then you get Drew to re-sign, if he isn't already, and then just give him the moment in Scotland, in Glasgow, and then that be that. And then by that time, Gunther will be on the but then again, it gets tricky with that because like this is the Raw title. Gunther's also on Raw, so potentially maybe you do give the title to Drew, and then at Clash of the Castle, it's Drew and Gunther or whatever. But yeah, that's getting kind of far out of the picture. So, but yeah, I would love Seth to retain. Definitely. I'm excited for it to see how it plays out, especially because there's so many moving pieces that can affect this one. CM Punk will also be on commentary for this match, and you could do Punk and Seth right away. Punk and McIntyre right away. I mean, the after WrestleMania, everything that's going to happen from WrestleMania is going to be so much fun to wait and see what happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean,
You could
McIntyre
do
and
you could
one for
do Punk.
McIntyre, one for Rollins. But
Yep.
the next one is the triple threat on Sunday for the United States Championship. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton. I have Logan retaining and then carrying it until SummerSlam, and then he loses the title in Cleveland, maybe to a Johnny Gargano if DIY doesn't have the tag titles, or one of Triple H's guys that is ready to take the jump to the mid card level. So like a Johnny Gargano, I think would be crazy, but since he's from Cleveland as well, it would be fun to do Cleveland against Cleveland. But ultimately, I think that would I mean LA Knight and Logan, which I thought, and I've said I thought they would do that at WrestleMania, but they're doing it this way. But yeah, Logan retaining here for me.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately going with Logan Paul. I would love to see. Look, I grew up watching Randy Orton. I would love to see Randy Orton win. But I think Logan retains. I think they're trying to build him up. He is putting the time in. He's putting the work in, and he deserves a decent run because of what he's made this his full-time career, and
Yep.
he's putting full-time effort into it. I think what happens. I think Logan comes out, and at some point he brings out the brass knuckles. Kevin Owens
Allegedly brings out the brass knuckles.
Right. And Kevin Owens stops him. We know how KO is. He doesn't care. He picks up the brass knuckles. He goes to knock Paul out and misses. Orton gets hit. Right. And then, Logan ultimately wins that match because of some sort of, screw up with the brass knuckles like that. And then now all of a sudden we have an Orton KO feud.
Yep. I do like that for sure. And then that opens the
Great
door for
Backlash.
that opens the door for, them at Backlash and Logan to kind of either, take, I mean, he, like you said, he is kind of moving towards that, closer to full timer and everything, and certainly has been on a lot of shows as of late, besides whenever he was down in Puerto Rico for Jake's fight and wasn't able to make it, but then was on the next couple weeks after that, and then him announcing SummerSlam in Cleveland. So you got to think if he's not no, I think he will be at Backlash in France. I think they announced that a while ago. So, they could, yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless with these three guys in the United States title picture. I just don't think Randy Orton needs a mid card title. If he was to get another title, it definitely should be a world title. And I think that Randy Orton, I think he's the guy to end up breaking Ric Flair's record, since John Cena has said that he maybe can do this for his one-off appearances for another 2 to 3 years at most, and Randy wants to go for a little bit longer than that. So but yeah, I mean, Logan retaining, and I like the finish that you said about Kevin Owens tries to use the knuckles, Logan jumps out the way and gets Orton, and then Logan throws Kevin Owens out of the ring, pins Orton, boom, start a new feud. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like that. Also, drink your prime.
Maybe one day. I'll give it a shot one day. But I can't drink the drink of a heel because I like the good guys. So
Yeah, that's all right. It's yeah, I mean it's also going to be cool to, I mean, speaking of Prime, it's going to be cool to see Prime being on the canvas for the first time at WrestleMania. And moving forward, all the PLEs and everything. And I wonder if C4 is going to follow that, as they just announced that C4 is now the official energy drink of WWE. So I wonder if they'll have a spot on the canvas, or just kind of be around the ring like they have previously. And then you got also other sponsors, are Snickers and Slim Jim. But yeah, I mean, the next match on the WrestleMania card is on Saturday, the one that I think everyone called from, way back whenever they first turned on each other. Team Yeet versus Team No Yeet, Jimmy versus Jay. I mean, Uso versus Uso, brother versus brother. Everything about how they kicked off this feud and got to this match at WrestleMania. I wish they would have focused more and let these two tell a story more. They had a couple of times where they gave a promo, did whatever, blah blah blah. But ultimately, the segments always felt rushed, and like they didn't have the time that the main event guys have. And I think that this match could possibly steal the show on Saturday. I'm gonna go main event Jey Uso, Team Yeet, Jey Uso over Jimmy.
yeah, I think I have to agree with you on the building up the feud a little bit better. That would be great. However, do we honestly think this is a end all be all match for these two at just WrestleMania? I don't think so. I'm gonna go with Jay. I think Jay wins it. But it's Jimmy. It's the bloodline. Anything can happen, right? It's
This
not
is
just
true.
about Roman winning.
Yep.
Okay. And then you've also got Cody and Seth that have said that they have Jey Uso's back as well.
Yep.
So anything could happen in this match. I'm gonna go with Jay,
Yep.
but this seems like it could also end in some sort of disqualification, and we continue it into Backlash and into SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
could agree with that, definitely. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. Definitely.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
The next one, oh, that's just my watch long graphic. Night 2 as well. There we go. The next one is WrestleMania Sunday, which again I thought this could have main evented night 1, but Io Sky versus Bailey for the women's for the WWE Women's Championship, which I guess is what they're calling it, even though it says, just like Romans, it says undisputed. But yeah, I mean, I'm Bailey. 100% is my pick. She deserves it. Her and Sasha carried the women's division, both divisions, but the tag team division as well, through the pandemic and the Thunderdome era, and now Bailey finally getting back to holding gold and being a face of that division. I think is going to be so good. Also, kind of throwing back to her kind of being more of a tweener than just a straight heel. I do like that, but I mean, Io Sky, her title reign has been pretty bad, given the fact that like she just, I mean, a couple times I can think of off the top of my head, maybe when she defended the title, but I mean, people talk about Roman not wrestling and showing up. I mean, Io Sky is there, but she's there to play a mean girl and just to continue that, what before they turned on Bailey and everything. So yeah, Bailey for this one. Give her a long title reign. And yeah, just end Io Sky's reign. I mean, she was great with Money in the Bank. Her cash in was great, but I mean, it peaked after that for me.
Yeah, Io. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember. I know she's defended her title, but I don't remember the matches. I wouldn't even put them as mid at best. I
Yeah.
would put them as filler matches. Which I'm sorry, for a championship match,
Yeah.
I should not be saying, "Oh, this is a time killer." This is, or let's get to the real promo and the matches we want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think ultimately Bailey wins. Question, Nick: how long has it been since Charlotte Flair's been here?
um, I
I think
think
it's been
she's
about.
I think she's 15 weeks out from her injury.
Is she?
Let me see. I know she's been posting like her rehab progress every week. She is in Philly. Does it looks like she doesn't look like she has a knee brace on. Um, from the two pictures that she posted yesterday. But I think I know where you're going with this, and I've been thinking the same exact thing.
I'm just saying. I know Naomi will be out there to back her up. Bianca will be out there to back Naomi up. She's not there to back up Bailey, but it's kind of like, I don't know. They kind of alluded to that on past episodes of SmackDown. Where Bianca is, she's there, but she's not really there for Bailey,
Yep,
right?
yep,
And like you said, Charlotte's in Philly.
yep,
Charlotte's got
yeah,
no knee brace.
yeah. I mean,
May not do
um,
enough. I mean, but really all we need is a distraction, right?
yeah. I mean, Becky also, the four
Yeah.
horsewomen back. Well, three out of the four horsewomen, back together. Um,
I
her
think
match
Bailey wins, but
is on Saturday, so she recovers quick and then goes out there and helps Bailey. Um, but yeah, I mean, Bianca is kind of like because her and Bailey have the history they do. It's like you're the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So because they're both going after damage control, they're kind of like on the same side, but are they really? But yeah, I mean, I like that, a Charlotte Flair return. Um, I don't know if it'll happen, but
well,
I would love something big of that nature. Obviously, our plans that we talked about for Mercedes return won't happen.
right.
Um, at this point, we're probably going to see Charlotte back before Mercedes makes her actual AEW in ring debut, because she won't have her first match until double or nothing. So, but yeah, Bailey for both of us on this one, with possible Charlotte return. You know Bianca and the rest of Damage Control, all of them getting involved, and however it plays out. But ultimately, Bailey to win some gold on WrestleMania Sunday, and then finally Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley on for WrestleMania Saturday. I guess I also need to get the Roman and Cody graphic. But yeah, I mean, Becky and Rhea, I guess I can't say that Io's title run has been bad, and because she does, I barely remember whenever she's defended it. And Rhea is kind of in that same area, but in the sense of you see her and you immediately think, okay, that's Star. So it's kind of like on the Roman Reigns. It leans more towards him and why he doesn't defend it every day, every week, every month, whatever. But she's there more. And Rhea is so much better on the mic than what Io Sky is. Rhea just hit a year as champion. Um, I mean, I don't see why you would really take the title off Rhea, and then if you do, what do you do with her? I mean, Becky deserves it for sure. Another title run, but her contract is up after WrestleMania, so I don't see them throwing a title on her just to get her to re-sign quicker. So I got Rhea retaining, as much of me being a Becky Lynch fan, which I also just got her book today, so I'm excited to start reading that. But I got Rhea retaining.
So this one is very interesting. It's gonna be a great match. I mean, you've got the two biggest stars, arguably, in the women's division, and Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Becky, I love Becky. I'm gonna go opposite of you. I think Becky wins. I don't think they're worried about signing Becky Lynch re-signing with WWE. I don't see Becky Lynch going to any other company, if I'm being honest, with everything that WWE has done for her, from the developmental program and NXT to where they're at now, especially with Triple H being what's seemingly much more family oriented, and her having a family and working so well with her and Seth and their, for their daughter Rue.
Yep.
I don't think they're really worried about re-signing her. I think if Becky wins, look for Judgment Day to start cracking soon, because I have a feeling Judgment Day is going to lose one, if not both, tag titles.
Right.
Then you've got Rhea losing her title. And then if Damian cashes in, all kinds of drama. Then you've got Dom and the issues with, joining Santos's faction and not communicating with Rhea.
Yep.
I mean, everything is set for Judgment Day to crumble at WrestleMania or shortly thereafter by the time Backlash hits. But I think Becky wins. I think you take it to Backlash, because one, this is going to be a great match. Why not have a second one?
Yep.
Right? At Backlash?
Yep.
Maybe go 1-1, and then you have a third one at SummerSlam. I would watch these two 3 times.
Yeah.
Easily.
I definitely can agree with that. I do. I like that for sure. I'm a big Becky fan, so if she does win, I would love it. And then if Rhea does lose, I just you could definitely immediately see them doing the Judgment Day, the splitting of the Judgment Day angle. And then who knows what happens after Backlash with the draft? You could just take Rhea, put her on SmackDown. And then, you could switch up and do the feuds of Rhea and Jade, Rhea and Bianca. Rhea and Raquel, just all the possibilities of Rhea being Rhea without the title is there. But I just, from my side, saying, Becky isn't re-signed, and she said on the Ariel Helwani show, they haven't talked about, anything yet contract wise, but she said she doubts that this would be her last WrestleMania. So I definitely think that they'll get her re-signed for sure. But I did see that Mercedes Moné was trying to recruit her to AEW. So I think Becky and AEW would be crazy, but I don't see it happening. Like you said, I think Becky and Seth specifically, I think they're WWE for lifers.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you've got a company that is going to work so well with what you need for your family, and then you got to remember too, AEW is also on different nights than WWE. So now all this time you get as a family together and being able to work and entertain fans and still be there for your daughter, and then for them to split and work different shows, and then in different cities, it's too much. There's no way that Becky or Seth is going to go anywhere. If they do, they go together. You lose them both. So but the fact that they haven't even talked about it tells me that WWE and Becky know that they're going to sign together. They're going to get it figured out. So they're not worried.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, I mean Becky deserves Becky and Seth both deserve to get a giant bag for their probably what would be, maybe their final, 1 to 2 contracts, depending on how much longer they both want to go. Like Cody just resigned. He wouldn't tell us how long or how many years, whatever. But he did say that at first he said, I want to say that I'm the Otani of WWE, but I can't say that because he's in trouble. So then Hawani said the LeBron, and so Cody is the LeBron James contracts of wrestling, from what he says. But I mean, I see Cody probably maybe I think it would be I would say I see him signing a 3 to 4 year deal and another 3 to 4, and then seeing where to go from there. So speaking of Cody, the main event on Sunday, I'm this one is also tough for me. I'm kind of right in the middle of if Roman retains in whatever fashion, um, it's going to continue this fantastic story. It's going to continue a historic reign, and they're probably going to go until he beats Hogan's record, which he's already going to beat Hogan's WrestleMania record. So at this point, beating Hogan's title record, I think would be the icing on top of the cake. And I mean, it would it's going to sting for Cody to lose again, and at that point, what do you really do from that side? But I could also see Cody actually doing it, and I would be okay with it either way. But um, I can't doubt the tribal chief. I'm picking Roman Reigns to retain.
So, I'm a Cody fan. I've watched Cody from when he was in WCW because I'm that old, right? And he's always had great potential, and he's finally living up to it. I think as much as it would be great to see someone break Hogan's record. I think Cody pulls it off. It's going to be bloodline rules, like no doubt. They're going to make it the toughest situation possible for Cody,
Yep.
but I think Cody's going to win for a couple of reasons. One, not only is the trailer there that you're talking about the other day of John Cena and Stone Cold, but remember a few months ago when all this started and Cody Rhodes said he took some advice from a legend that knows The Rock well. And then we've got Stone Cold back in the gym, training like he hasn't trained in years,
Yep.
right? So now you've evened out the original bloodline. Okay, you've got Roman and Cody, you've got Seth and Jay versus Solo and Jimmy, right? Perfect odds, right? Rock comes out. What do you need? You need the Rock Hunter. Okay. Rocks get hunted by rattlesnakes. So, and it's WrestleMania 40. It's not, I wouldn't be surprised if Stone Cold comes back out to stop The Rock. And I think it would be very fitting considering The Rock beat him in his last match at WrestleMania.
Yep.
For him to come back and get a little bit of redemption
Yep.
for that. So plus Roman Reigns also said it. If he loses this time, he gets no other shot.
Yep.
It has been made very clear. This is Cody Rhodes' last shot. So if you're going to finish the story, his royal family beating Roman Reigns' royal family.
Yep.
Right? At the biggest stage of them all, if he's not getting another shot, this is it. This is the spot to do it. He's lost once. He's gone through he who shall not be named Brock Lesnar, right? Hard time storyline. Okay.
Yep.
And now he's going through the final boss. And he's faced anybody and everybody in between, Judgment Day, to build him back up. It's time. It is time for Cody Rhodes to finish his story. I think he will. I think we get a surprise appearance from Stone Cold to even the odds against The Rock and the Bloodline, and Cody wins it.
Yeah, like I said, I see both sides. I'm okay with whatever the result is, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy whatever happens. How's it going, Earl? I see you jumping in towards the end, catching the main event. I also see that you're Team Cody. I'm either one, honestly. And I saw a tweet that said something about, what if Cody loses the same way that Dusty lost? Like, he won the title, but because it was on a count out, he didn't actually win. So what if they do something like that where, I guess because it's Bloodline rules, it would have to be something crazy. Um, or maybe it's not Bloodline rules, and then he gets counted out or just gets disqualified, and um he would win the title but then not actually win the title, so then he didn't lose, so then therefore he could have another shot, and then Roman still has the title. You go it through and Roman beats Hogan's record, then you make Survivor Series at Madison Square Garden, like I've been saying to do, and then that's whenever you have Cody actually win and take the title. Where Dusty, what then it's full circle for everything, every aspect of it, and boom, yeah. But either way, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna be happy, and I can't wait for the press conference after. I can't wait for the Raw after WrestleMania. Um, Given that it's Triple H's vision, and we're not going to get anything like what we got last year, which was absolutely a terrible, terrible episode of Monday Night Raw. Yeah, that's the there's WrestleMania 40 predictions in the books. I'm excited for this one. I'm bummed that I can't go, given that it's in Philly and it's so close. But with what the weather is going to be, I'm okay with sitting right where I'm sitting and watching from here, having snacks and whatever, and being able to run to the bathroom during the Pride versus the Final Testament match,
Yes.
maybe a couple others, and then finally seeing if Cody can finish his story, and if not, we watch the greatest of all time continue his greatest championship run of all time, and he will end up beating Hogan's record, which will be in September. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
If here's the disappointing part about that, right? Is if Reigns does win, continues on with his reign, how do you keep the build up at this level? Because let's be honest, this is the best build up we've seen in probably a decade of a match, right? Of a WrestleMania. And at this point, with how much they've built it up, whether they've pivoted on a dime because of fan reactions, or whether they had it all planned out in from the beginning, how do you keep it up at this level through all of summer and all the way to Survivor Series in November? I mean, there's just no way they can keep it up. The Rock, I don't think, can keep it up that long, for months and months and months. And if you don't, let's say your only other option is to kind of cool it off and then try to build it back up again a few months before Survivor Series. It's just, they've put so much work and they've done so well with this feud. It's hard to not see it climax at WrestleMania and finish somewhere else at another pay-per-view. So, because the buildup just won't be nearly as great. This has been an absolute phenomenal run for a road to WrestleMania with this feud. And
Yeah.
I'd be a little disappointed if they just kept it going all the way to Survivor Series, because there's just no way you can keep this level up for that long, many months.
Yeah. And I mean that's more of a, me being a big Roman fan and wanting to see him break Hogan's record, which I mean he's so close, so like it's like you might as well just do it. And if they've already pushed it off for a year, I'm sure they can find ways to push it off for another couple of months. If The Rock is involved or not, I mean, they could. I'm sure they could find something to do it. It would be devastating in the sense of like, okay, he lost again, so now what? Are we just gonna see him be the champion without the title for a whole nother 7 months?
Yeah.
6-7 months. So it would be tough for sure. But if anyone is capable of telling more of the story, it's this bloodline story. You could, I mean, you could do so many different things with all the moving pieces and everything like that. So there's ways to do it, but it, like you said, there's already been so much work put in, and it would just be it definitely just would be better to have Cody win. But I don't know. I just can't doubt Roman. I can't doubt the bloodline. I can't doubt this story, and I'm not ready to say goodbye to Roman if he were to lose and then see him, leave.
So for me, it'd be like you get on a roller coaster, right? And you start climbing up that first drop, right? And you're like, oh man, this is gonna be so great. And you get to the top, right, which is at WrestleMania, and then it's not even like you don't even drop all the way down. You just kind
yeah,
of smooth out that drop
yeah,
and just continue on until another one. And it's they've really painted themselves into a corner with these promos, and especially with the Mama Rhodes belt and the blood, and
yep.
just heel Rock has been a great Rock, and it's I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a fun weekend. And I'm sure after everything we can join forces once again and recap it. Hopefully with Hunter, with Keenan, with some other people, get everyone's thoughts and feelings towards it. I'm ready for WrestleMania both days. I'm ready for the press conferences afterwards, and just Saturday night, seeing how it plays out, and then being so ready for night two that I can't go to sleep. And then I was smart. I took off the Monday after WrestleMania Sunday, so I won't have to worry about not struggling to sleep and then going to work at 3 a.m. So yeah, and then the following week UFC 300, the Masters, and then 2 weeks after that we got AEW Dynasty. So
Let's not
sports
forget
and
baseball season as well.
yep, I've been keeping track of my Pirates and my Yankees. Aaron Judge actually just became the newest Prime athlete, so he signed with Prime today. But yeah, so big time for sports and NFL free agency. I know your Cowboys haven't done really anything, but they're all in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think they're all in. I think Jerry got his years mixed up. Maybe they're all in next year.
Okay.
They have talked about apparently they're not negotiating contract with Dak right now. They're gonna see how he does and possibly let him test free agency next year.
Wow.
So it's gonna be interesting, but I'm not surprised because you've got so many people to sign. You've got CeeDee Lamb, you've got to sign. You got Micah Parsons, you've got to sign. I mean, it's tough because there's not enough money to go around because clearly Dak is not interested in taking a pay cut, right?
Yep.
A team friendly deal. So, but you know, they always draft well too, though. So, you know, wouldn't be surprised if they're betting on, you know, the draft they found. I mean, everyone thought they were crazy for drafting Micah Parsons in the first round last year or a couple of years ago. You know, CeeDee Lamb fell into their lap at number 17. So, you know, it's not like they draft bad, but, you know, I could see them going for Jonathan Brooks at the running back position. I'd like to see them get some O-line, but, you know, it's I think they're really just trying to get through this year and get to next year when they've got a little bit more flexibility with money wise and you know, stuff like that. So because they struggled to get cap compliant this year. So yeah, we'll see. But I could go about that for days.
Yeah. Yep. This was yep, we can definitely jump into some NFL talk at another time. This is WrestleMania it's all about WrestleMania this weekend. So appreciate you joining me tonight and getting these predictions out. Can't wait to watch it and to see how it plays out, how many we get right, how many we get wrong, any returns and everything like that, maybe a cash in. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun weekend, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you and we'll be chatting about it. But thanks for joining me once again. Let the people know where they can find you, and that'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. Lace 'em Up Sports on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I'm streaming to all those right now. So yeah, go look me up, and you know, you'll get to see the recap of WrestleMania here soon too.
Yep. So yeah, that's going to do it for episode 60 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast, WrestleMania 40 prediction show. Again, code Sleeper at Shank Golf for 15% off, and I will see you tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. Peace out, everyone.
Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.